Alofi, brothers and sisters. Oriire funo, good tidings to you. I pray that you are feeling awake, aware, and elevated in mind, body, and spirit, wherever you are, and whatever may be happening around you. Asha'ro. If you're striving to change your life by following the guidance of our ancestors, then you're in the right place. This is where we break things down to help you to expand your mind into the wisdom of the Ifa spiritual tradition of Ancestor and Orisa worship. Itesi waju ati isokan, progress and peace. Everything we share here is intended to assist you in making progress and finding peace and success in your life. Your goal is consistent progress, not perfection. Ashe, Ashe, Asha'ro. Homage to the one who sends and to those who are sent. Homage to Orisha and Egun. If you're new to these video lessons, I'm Baba Umar, Oluranse Emese, voice of the MSA, member of the Isoro Traditional Council of Chiefs in Ile-Ife, Nigeria, Oluwo of the House of Umar, and Babalawo of Ile-Ife Orisa, the House of the Mysteries of the Orisa. Our topic for this video is the 16 Truths of Ifa. Truth13, our ancestors exist and must be honored. Asha'ro. Each of us is part of a long chain of souls that have come into this world, lived and died, leaving behind their genetic legacy. We return to this world by choice through our lineage, and from that perspective, it is possible for you to give birth to a child who is the return of your, say, great-great-great-grandfather or grandmother, just as an example. It is by keeping the memory of our ancestors alive in oral and written traditions and in ceremonies that we can recognize them when they return. Death does not end the life of a soul or limit the capacity of the soul to feel its own connection to the ongoing legacy of the lineage. Among the forces recognized in the Ifa tradition is the Egungun, the spirit of the ancestors. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Let's look at what we can learn from Odu Iwori Edi, the 75th Odu, speaking on the subject of reincarnation. Aboru Aboye. I'm not going to read the Yoruba for this. I am including it in the video script, so you know you can get access to it. But I don't feel comfortable that I can do justice to the Yoruba reading. I'm just not prepared enough. I've gone over it, but I'm not prepared enough to be able to speak it fluently and not give you errors in your pronunciation because of my errors in pronunciation. So I'll come back to this at some later date. We'll go over this Odu again, and I'll be better prepared to share with you a good representation of the Yoruba recitation. So you can always access the information, the Yoruba text, in the PDF copy of the script. Okay? So, Aboru Aboye. There is no childbearing woman who cannot give birth to an Ifa priest. There is no woman who cannot give birth to Orunmila, our Father. If he gives birth to us in full, inevitably we shall in time give birth to him in turn. So this is Ifa talking about this process of being reborn and reborn in our bloodline. Our mother, if she gives birth to us in full, inevitably we shall in time give birth to her in turn. Oh, this is beautiful. Ifa oracle was consulted for Orunmila, who said he would bring the heaven down to the earth and he would take the earth back to heaven. In order for him to accomplish his mission, he was asked to offer everything in twos, one male and one female, one ram and one ewe, one he-goat and one she-goat, one cock and one hen, and so on. Orunmila heeded the advice and performed the sacrifice. Thus, the earth became fruitful and multiplied greatly. Iwori idi, Ashe, Ashe, Asheo. Accordingly, the Egungun, spirit of ancestors, are always considered to be a positive force in our lives, always working to our benefit. We can choose to honor their legacy, continue its development, and to pass it on to our descendants, or we can choose to break the chain of wisdom that lies waiting to be accessed in every cell of our Aura Ojubo, our body temple. What is it that you decide to do? Well, the fact that you're here, you're listening to this video, and you've come back time and time again tells me, and should tell the rest of our Egbe, that you're one of the people who wants to build on this relationship and tap into the resources that the ancestors have put in your DNA. Ashe. This is how our nemesis, our adversary, our opponents, our rivals in this Loja, they were hoping to break us, to cripple us mentally by using the hypnosis of social conditioning to cut us off from our ancestral legacy and our personal power, so that we would see them as unbeatable. One of our greatest powers in this reality is our power to choose to see. I mentioned at one time, I heard someone break down the word Orisha as being a re, to see, I see, Ori, and Sha, to choose, Orisha, to choose to see. So our tradition is one where we recognize that we have unlimited access to unlimited wisdom. And the goal of our enemy has been to turn us away from that understanding of ourselves, to diminish that understanding of ourselves so that we would think that we were powerless to face them. White supremacy racism is a system designed to shape and control our choices, and in doing so, to debilitate our minds and to afflict us with the curse of hopelessness, helplessness, and a sense of worthlessness. And sorry to say, you can agree or disagree, but from my perspective, they've been very successful in twisting us out of our natural state. This series of lessons that we've been sharing, this message from Ifa, is intended to help us untie ourselves from the hypnosis of social conditioning, to extricate ourselves from the maya of white supremacy consciousness, and to rise into our true identity and power. This truth of Ifa, Truth13, acknowledges and celebrates the eternal presence of Egungun, the spirit of ancestors, and our ongoing connection to our ancestral grouping or lineage. Ashe. I've spoken extensively about ancestors and ancestor worship in previous videos. Let me excerpt from some of those previous lessons as a reminder of the fact that our ancestors exist and must be honored. In Ifa, we believe in the existence of supernatural forces, spiritual entities that have the capacity to influence our journey in this world. There are both good, positive, and evil, negative, supernatural forces. The good supernatural forces are the gods and the Egungun, and both of these are always working to support your success in life and to protect you from the evil supernatural forces as long as you do not neglect fulfilling your duties to your fellow human beings, to the other creatures on the earth, to the environment, and to the good supernatural forces, and to your ancestors. Should you fail in your spiritual duties of daily living, you can conjure the displeasure, even anger of the supernatural entities. But Ifa offers us a way to appease them through the offering of their bows and the carrying out of spiritual rituals and ceremonies. It is certainly worth asking if this current turmoil and chaos in our world, you know what I'm talking about, is an indication, an example of what can happen when, and what will in fact happen, what will continue to happen if humanity continues to fail in managing and balancing the energies of these supernatural forces. I mean, right now, we're looking pretty screwed. As I've mentioned, the metaphor that I've used is, we are in the chrysalis. This is the caterpillar going into the chrysalis to become a butterfly. We know what the caterpillar looks like, and we can appreciate its unique beauty. We know what the butterfly looks like, and we can appreciate its awesome majesty. But that stage in between, in the chrysalis, when it's going through the metamorphosis, that's some ugly stuff going on. That's some ugly stuff. We don't want to spend a whole lot of time looking at that, but it's there, and so we got to deal with the fact that something's going on in the chrysalis that is not pretty. And we are in the chrysalis right now. We're in that stage of development, of transformation from the third and fourth into the fifth stage of creation. It's not pretty, it's ugly, and we need to know how to deal with it. And we're grateful that Ifa gives us the tools to be able to do that. There's an Ifa verse from the sacred oracles that translates, if one has a problem, one should take it to one's ancestors. He shall protect you. One's dead father never fails to protect one. She shall protect you. One's dead mother never fails to protect one. Aboru, aboye, ashe, ashe, asheo. You are never truly alone in this world. You are connected to the past, present, and future, just as every cell in your body is connected to the oneness that manifests as your physical self. The good spiritual forces gods, Orisa, the ancestors, Egungun, the spirit of ancestors, do not work against the interests of human beings, and therefore, from the perspective of Ifa, they are regarded as our friends, always willing to act to protect us from our own failures and forgetfulness, as well as from the evil supernatural powers. Ifa tells you that whatever you pursue, whether it be to overcome difficulty, avoid tragedy, or accomplish some desired goal, you should turn first to your own Ori, and second to your Egungun, the spirit of your ancestors. Ashe, Ashe, Asheo. Ifa looks at the nature of the physical world, the physical universe, and then asks the questions. How can we act and interact with the essence of this reality in such way that we can live the best possible life? Ifa asks, can metaphysical and spiritual principles influence and affect the physical laws of the universe? And is the physical reality a collection of individual and separate pieces? Or is it an integrated whole governed by a unifying principle? These are important questions, and in the last few lessons that we've gone through, I've put some questions out there for you to reflect on, to kind of, loosen up the topsoil of your mind, to create some new neural pathways in your brain, to expand your understanding and your library of knowledge. Those questions that get you to look inward and outward so that you can begin to reshuffle the knowledge that's in your head and to escape the hypnosis of social conditioning. So these are important questions. These are the questions that arise when you begin to understand that life is not something that is happening to you beyond your control, but rather it is an experience that you are creating through your own choices and ways of thinking about the Loja, the marketplace. See, our enemies knew and know that if they can influence the way we think, they can influence our capacity to function in the world. Because this is where it starts. It starts with our thinking and then the choices that we make based on those things. So if they can get into our head and shape how we think about the world and how we think about ourselves in the world, they have control over us. Ashe. The cycle of life and death is one of those areas of human concern that extends into the substantial and the insubstantial realities, the physical and the spiritual, the seen and the unseen. The physical aspect of death seems clear. The heart stops beating. The brain and heart stop sending out their bioelectromagnetic signals. The Ashe, the vital life force, stops circulating through the body. Rigor mortis sets in, and the body begins to decay, to go back to where we borrowed it from, to Mother Earth. The laws of the substantial reality have been satisfied. The body, the entity, the avatar is dead. What about the insubstantial reality? Ifa wants us to ask ourselves some questions. Is there something that persists after the death of the body? And I know you're here, you're listening to me, you've been following me, you know the answer to that. Of course there is. Is the body the entire entity? Or is there something more, something unseen, but nonetheless real? What is the purpose of life anyway? Why are we here? Is there something like what we call a soul? If so, does it die with the body, or does it live on in some other reality or dimension of this reality? See, this is getting us to really look at this thing. You see the wall and you hit the wall and you say, oh, okay, so you think that everything that we see and deal with here is as real as that wall, impenetrable. But there are layers, and when we look at really go deep, we understand, wait a minute. When I look at this wall, there is more empty space in front of me than there is solid matter. If we look at it and break it down into the atomic structure of the wall, it's mostly empty space. So the idea of the wall being solid is a perception that I have based on being in this three-dimensional flubberjacket, this avatar, this body, Ara Ojubo. Okay. So these questions are getting us to look beyond the veil, to look deeper, and not to be surface dwellers. Does this soul entity have awareness? Or is its very nature awareness, consciousness? Hear that? Does the soul entity have awareness, or is its very nature awareness, consciousness? Can we as living beings contact and interact with these entities of consciousness that exist after the body or the death of the body? Ashe. Do these entities have an interest in the activities of the living? I mean, they're gone, quote unquote, somewhere. Okay? What do they care about what you and I are doing on a daily basis? So we ask, does it matter to them? Are they able to interact, contact with us? Are they able to initiate contact with us? Okay. Ifa presents in the sacred Odu Ifa and the stories that are told and the proverbs that are used. Ifa is getting us to ask ourselves these questions. Well, what's really going on? What's operating at a deeper level? That's why Ifa speaks in parables and proverbs. Ifa declares certain truths to assist you in your life journey. Your journey in the world does not begin and end with you, but is part of a chain of lineage dating back to the very origins of human existence. Those who have lived this journey before you are still aware, conscious, and caring. So I'm answering the question. Ifa is answering the questions that we just raised above. Those who came before you support your success during your and my journey in this physical reality. This is a relay race. Okay? So when the first and second runners have passed on the baton to the third runner, right? They are then committed to the success of the third runner. Then, come on, man, come on, sister, yeah, And when she passes it on, or he passes it on to the fourth runner, then all three of them are, putting out positive ashe, positive intention, positive energy for the success of the fourth runner. That's how it happens here in this world, in this reality, when we are at the track meet. So why would we think that it would be any different in terms of the legacy, the teamwork involved in the lineage of our ancestors leading up to us and looking forward into our descendants to come? Ashe. You have a responsibility to acknowledge and honor those who are the predecessors of your lineage, your egungun, your ancestors. You can and should seek the assistance of your ancestors in dealing with circumstances and conditions of your life. They got your back. And again, even though I ran in the second leg of the race, of the relay race, and I ran, my leg, with perfection. I mean, it was the best time that I've done in my whole running career. No matter how successfully I ran my leg of the race, if my person who's carrying the third leg, or my team member who's carrying the fourth leg, or my team member that's carrying the fifth leg, whatever number of legs it is, okay? If they do not succeed, we do not win the race. So even though I ran the best race of my life, and I get credit for that, a little pat on the back for having done that, if I'm not supporting the success of those that are running after me, then when the final tally is made, the final report is made of who won the race, our team will not have won the race. Because everybody has to stay ahead. And so Ifa says that our ancestors want us to succeed. These spiritual entities, the positive spiritual entities, want us to succeed. Past, present, and future are not separate. Individuated parts, but rather in integrated matrix of divine energies that cannot be divided one from the other. So there is the appearance of separateness, the appearance of individuation, but the ultimate reality is everything is connected to everything else. Past, present, and future are simply reference points on our journey in the Loja and do not represent separate and distinct realities. Ashe, Ashe, Asheo. If this is helping you, if this is giving you some insight, if this is, touching you in some way, take a moment to click that like button, to subscribe if you haven't done that already. And remember to pass this information on to someone that you care about. How do you participate in ancestor worship and honoring your egungun, the spirit of your ancestors? It can be as simple or elaborate as you wish to make it. I mean, it can be, a thought. Thoughts have power. Thoughts become things. So just thinking about your ancestors, your relationship to your ancestors, this legacy, this picturing the support of the ancestors that ran the first leg of the race, and those that ran the second leg, and those that ran the 15th leg, and those that ran when I was with one of my Babalawos, one of my teachers, I remember him being, we were doing a reading for someone, and the initial question as to whether the way was clear for Baba Alatunji to do a reading for this person, the way was not clear. It wasn't open. Okay. And so he began trying to clear away whatever negative ashe there was associated with this person so that the reading could take place. And as he was doing that, he called on his ancestors going back 16 generations. He was a 16th generation Babalawo. And so that's a relay race in which he could count back, 16 people on his team, 16 generations of ancestors that had his back. You and I need to think like that. Okay. So it can be as simple or elaborate as you wish for it to be. You know, just a thought. But going further, pour some cool water into a crystal glass or a wooden goblet, or directly on the earth for that matter. On a regular basis, do this and thank your Egungun, spirit of your ancestors, for their part in your life and for supporting the will of your Ori. Reserve that goblet or that sacred, that consecrated space exclusively for communion with your ancestors. Make it something that even when you pass it or even when you think about it, you can anticipate, you can see the energy flow from you to them and from them to you. Ashe. Place a small plate on your dinner table and share your meals with your ancestors by placing a small portion of the food in their plate, and reserve that plate exclusively for connecting with your Egungun. It doesn't have to be enough big, elaborate, just a little bit. Just a little bit. On my mother's birthday and on her date of death, I do a ceremony, and it's as simple as making, my mother loved coffee. I make her a cup of coffee, or I have my wife make her a cup. I don't drink coffee, so I'm not familiar with making it, but I know how my mother liked it. And so I have my wife, Ile-Ife, make a cup of coffee, and I go out and she goes out, and we, give coffee to my mother on her day. We do that for her mother and her father and my father. So it could be something as simple as that, a cup of coffee, a piece of fruit. There's some kind of food or dessert or whatever. My mother loved ice cream, so I buy some ice cream and put it out for her. So, think simple. Don't make things too difficult for yourself. Keep it simple, but sincere. Do it from your heart. Do it because you feel connection, or you're creating that sense of connection between yourself and the infinite. Call the names of your ancestors to include them on special occasions and during special ceremonies like weddings, graduation ceremonies, the birth of a child, a new member coming in, or an old family member coming back into the family through the birth of a new child. Okay, celebrate that and invite your whole Egbe Orun, your whole support system in heaven. Invite them to come and participate in those ceremonies. Put pictures bring pictures and put them on an altar for your Egungun. That can be a powerful element of ancestor worship, and it's not necessary, but it adds, it helps you to better connect with your ancestors, especially if you have some favorite ancestors or ancestors that you've had personal contact with, like your grandmother or your grandfather, your great-grandfather. To have a picture of them right there would be a blessing for you, because it would open your mind and heart up to them at the times that you're doing your ancestor worship, and at the times that you just tune in. Just as if you could be sitting at your desk at work and be doing ancestor worship. The main idea is to be aware, conscious of the insubstantial reality, and to have faith and eventually the certainty of knowledge that the insubstantial reality can influence and affect the substantial reality. There is more around us that we don't see than there is that we do see. I don't care how much you see. There is more around you and me that we don't see than there is that we do see. So understanding, thinking about the world, thinking about the Loja, thinking about your everyday experiences and what you're doing, and this energy that's around you and the things that are happening, not only in the world, but in the cosmos, in the universe, broaden your sense of it. Don't get stuck here. Don't get stuck with this three-dimensional flubber jacket being the all and be all of who you are. Don't get stuck thinking that you are the avatar. No, you're not the avatar. You are working through the avatar. You are God experiencing itself through these avatars, through the trees and the water and the mountains and the stars and the planets and the insects and the bacteria. All of it is Olofi-dumare, experiencing itself and the processes of expansion, transformation, elevation, returning to oneness. Ashe. Isopo, the Yoruba term, means connectivity, the state or extent of being connected or interconnected. Things that are connected have access to and the possibility of communication with each other. You have an unbreakable connection to the spirit world. Use it. Use that channel of communication. It's there. Nothing can break it. You can not pay attention to it. You can not utilize it. But that ability to communicate with the spirit world is always there because you are in that world. You are connected to that world. There's a part of you that is manifesting and expressing itself through your Ara Ojubo, through your body temple, through the avatar. And there's a part of you that is in Orun, in heaven, your Ada, your God self. Keep that channel of communication open. May my spiritual Oriire never be in conflict with my physical Oriire. Ashe, ashe, ashe. Things that are connected are linked or related to each other. Things that are in a state of isopo feel in affinity, a spontaneous or natural liking or empathy for someone or something, affinity with each other. We talked about in other lessons quantum entanglement. Okay, so go ahead and look that up. I've sent you to look that up before. If you've done it, then you already know what we're talking about when we use that modern scientific language of quantum entanglement. Ashe, ashe, ashe. We should always stop and think about the things we believe, why we believe them, and how we understand or perceive the things that we believe. So we don't want to be surface dwellers. When you study these lessons, what you're doing is acquiring knowledge. Okay? The more you study, the more you understand these lessons, you are acquiring knowledge. You're expanding your knowledge. But knowledge is not wisdom. Wisdom comes when you take the knowledge that you've gained and you apply it, and you see the consequences of its application. Then you elevate your knowledge to the level of wisdom. That's what you and I should be about, want to be about, in order to expand and transform. Open your heart and mind. Expand your sense of self beyond your individuated physical body. Seek the wholeness, the totality of who you are. And in doing so, you will unlock the doorway, the vortex through which your egungun can communicate with you. Egunmi, moni aromo domo e peleo. Maja kiki wono run mo dupwe. Egbo baba, egbo ye ye. Egunmi, fi funmini Oriire te de iwa pele. Adupwe, 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 ashe, ashe, asheo. Egunmi, moni aromo domo e peleo. My ancestors, I, your descendant, am greeting you, salute you. Majakiki wono run, modupwe, all respect to the powers of heaven. I thank you. Igbo baba, igbo ye ye, honor to the fathers and honor to the mothers. Egunme, fifunmini Oriire te de iwa pele, my ancestors. I know that you're bestowing upon me the wisdom to become a person of good character. Modupwe, modupwe, adupwe, I thank you, I thank you, I thank you. Ashe, ashe, asheo. This brings us to the 14th truth of Ifa that states, sacrifice guarantees success. If you appreciate the wisdom that we share on this channel, please help us to expand our reach and grow our audience by subscribing, clicking the like button, and sharing. Help our YouTube Egbe to grow, hopefully to 5,000 subscribers by this time next year. That's a reasonable goal. That's a very reasonable goal. It's probably an underestimate of the potential that we have because Ifa is growing worldwide. So all we have to do is do our part in letting people know. Oh, you're looking for Ifa? You can find Ifa here. You can find Ifa here on YouTube. Accessible any place in the world. Here. Check out Ile-Ife Orisha playlist. Check out Baba Umar's lessons on YouTube. Ashe, ashe, asheo. Ki Olofi-dumare Orisha ati egun fifune ni itona imoye ati opo ere. May Olofi-dumare Orisha and Egun bestow on you guidance, wisdom, and abundant blessings. Ifo kanbale, peace of mind from Olofi-dumare. Alafia ati Ife, peace and love. Ajo lo, ajo bo. We go out together, we return together. Ashe, ashe, asheo.